Hi, this is Amy Magyar at FromWithin Coaching, and today during CliftonStrengths, we are going to unpack Includer, and I am here with Coach Augusta who joins me every week as we do this, and so good to have you here, and so good to be doing Includer with you.
Yeah, I'm super happy to be here and super happy to talk about the relational theme of Includer.
Yeah. We were just talking before we got started that you have not come across someone with Includer in the
As a
theme.
client.
So yeah, I've had a couple in there. This will be super fun to sort of to work through and talk about. So as
Absolutely.
always, I just want to mention that this is not, our conversation today is not in lieu of a coaching session, but instead it's an opportunity for the viewer and the listener to just hear a little bit more as we talk and use our language around Includer and what has come up for us. So as always, I'm also going to read the CliftonStrengths definition, which is people strong in the Includer theme are accepting of others. They show awareness of those who feel left out and make an effort to include them. So, this is so, in 2020, I think we need more includers in the world
Yeah.
because this is such a beautiful strength. They are all beautiful in so many ways, but this strength is about bringing people together.
Mm-hmm.
It is inclusion. It is unity. It is commonality. It is sort of bringing the circle in. And I just
Yeah.
love that language around it. Augusta, when you think about includer, is there a word that comes to mind for you that sums it up? I may have just said it, but what comes up for
No. I
you?
mean, I think some of the ones that come up for me are definitely non-judgmental,
Yeah.
um, big time, because when I think of Includer, it's, as I was reflecting and reading about it, thinking, okay, well, who did I know maybe growing up who might have had these wonderful strengths, and it certainly wasn't a lot of people I knew, because these people they shy away from anything that's exclusive or anything that is excluding of others. And
Yeah.
so again, to your point, I think in today's kind of world and narrative, I mean, what a beautiful way to show up and to encourage others to show up also in that
Yeah.
non-judgmental, non-exclusive kind of, we're all together. Yeah.
Yeah, we see this on the playground. I think this is such a great sort of example of includers. We see this on the playground when there's a child that maybe is off playing by his or herself, and you see somebody, this little child, kind of walking up to this other one to kind of say, hey, let's either play together or
Come
come and
join the
play with
group.
my group, right?
Yeah.
And they'll even maybe do that with their toys, is kind of, create a little gathering and make sure that everybody's included.
Yeah.
And there's such this beauty of, even though what you're bringing together may seem completely different, they see the commonality. And similar to someone like myself who has connectedness, we want to bring people together, and not just people to people, but people to things.
Mm.
And I think with this, it is really so much about that drawing of maybe not understanding why people need to come into the circle, but wanting them to make sure that they feel valued, right? And
Oh,
so,
absolutely. Yeah, I
mhm,
love that, because I was just thinking of, that visual of a child or a person on the outside and drawing them in. I mean, I feel that part of what is so fabulous about includers is that they not only can see the physical, like somebody's on the outside, but they can discern even within a group. Because if we can reflect back, I'm
good
sure we've
point.
been in a group and have not felt part of it, or have felt somehow ignored or left out. They can discern that even within a group and help bring that person
Sort of
in,
pull that person. Yeah.
have other people see, exactly, speaking like you were speaking to, the value of what they have to offer or share. So it's
Yeah.
almost like this superpower of definitely the physical bringing them in, but then within the crowd or the circle or the group, being able to discern.
Yeah. Yeah. And to your point of exclusive versus inclusive, is jump right in. This is if someone with includer and the top 5 works in an organization where it's about exclusion, or excuse me, it's about sort of exclusivity, and it's about almost like you're here, we're here. It's very separate, right? And even if they want to say equal or separate but equal, it's like, that includer just kind of will feel the rub of, no, I want to bring together and not say you can't go in there versus you. And I actually worked for an organization that really appreciated and sort of overemphasized exclusivity, and helped, with words like VIP, and sort of even though I don't have includer, what I found was my heart broke for watching like a community of these athletes who were like, so I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I can't do that. Like,
certainly messaging around that.
Yeah. And so, watching that for an includer, it would be death by, just to feel that. And I think what's interesting is if you have an includer with empathy, boy, they feel the person who's all the way on the outside, right? So, just being aware of that.
Well, Amy, what strength, I mean, you're speaking of having includer with some of these other strengths. Which one do you think it shows up with most?
Oh, interesting.
Have you read any about that?
It's interesting. I mean, they all pair together.
Absolutely.
What we know is, and this is something that they talk about all the time. Statistically, the one that it doesn't pair up with is command. And that's because command just doesn't statistically show up a lot, right? So
yeah, that's true.
So statistically that would make sense. This is what's interesting, is that with individualization, for example, we with individualization see the differences in people and accept them as different. And with includer, they see the commonality and try to bring together people because of the commonality.
Yes.
Now, it's not that either one is better in any way. It's how they help somebody feel valued.
Yeah.
Right? Includer is bring you in, right? And I think with individualization, it is, I value who you are as an individual. You don't have to be a part of the group to be of value. If we bring you into the group, I'm going to know your value and help you sort of orchestrate. But because it's a relationship theme, I think it works with so many.
It does.
What do you think? What do you think
it does? I was just, when I was thinking, like, how would these people show up? And I could just imagine maybe somebody with a lot of positivity, just a lot of even the individualization. I bet it shows up with some, because it's, that being able to see the strength and the value of each individual, and then to have includer possibly to bring them into I mean, it's just so fascinating to just think about each strength that we discuss every week, and kind of how it would show up with a different, constellation of other strengths around it. I love thinking about that.
It is so much because there's like a radar for these people where they just kind of they have a feeling, they have a sense, they're watching the dynamics. Their inclination is to bring forward. And when we talk about the themes as being mature versus raw, or ceilings versus sort of basement, I've had a client, in fact, who would sit in meetings and was told many times, there's too many people in here. You invited too many people into this meeting. But she kept saying, but we need their input, right? So there's a little input too. But, we need them. They're a part of this project. We want them to buy in. And I think that one of the things that you can do if you have something like strategic is think about, include people where it makes the most sense to include them. And if you can't include them physically in a meeting, you can vocalize and verbalize with them as to why that particular meeting you're going to give them that break from, but making them feel like they're part of the process, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Instead of just being a group, you can really expand that and bring them in as part of a process going
Yeah,
forward,
yeah.
or the teamwork, whatever the process is. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's not just that literal bring you together in a room.
Yeah.
It's bring you together on a project, which could mean it could be incredible. You know, someone with includer in communication has an incredible way of using the language to help people feel welcome and together and invested and aware of what's happening. You know, it's interesting because this is such a powerful leadership strength,
It is.
is making sure that people feel buy-in, people feel included. Don't tell people what to do, help them buy into whatever it is that's kind of happening, especially when you're managing change, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
But it can also mean we can't move forward in sort of the basement of this strength. We can't move forward because not everybody knows what's happening, or because we, you know, so and so can't be here, so we
Yeah.
can't make that
Yeah,
decision,
move forward.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I can see that. Absolutely. That could be an area where it's almost an impossible, um, you
yeah,
know, thing to do, is to include everyone. And so knowing, the limitations around that
yeah.
and not getting stuck in
I
that.
think 2020 is a beautiful year to discuss includer, because I think with, in so many ways, gender, race, religion, even politics, there is so much intolerance and exclusion
And
that
judgment.
you know, I really feel for people with includer,
Yeah.
because literally with every time you turn on the TV, you were seeing you and me, right? You
Yeah,
see like
absolutely.
separate,
I know. I
not
know. And
together.
it's so interesting because, when I was doing my research, it says that includer actually only shows up in 12% of the population. And that is really too bad. That is too low to be acceptable, I think. I wish it was, one of the strengths that was much higher, obviously. It'd be so interesting if we had more people just, in the world population that had this strength. You know, so we all have it somewhere in our range, obviously. And so it's so interesting, when we think, oh, I don't have this in my top 5, so I can't possibly, be this way. But we really all do. And whether or not you know where it is on your, 34, your range of 34, we can all, it just means that it takes us a little bit more effort and intention and energy to kind of bring that forth. Whereas somebody who has it on their top 5, maybe even top 10, can just, navigate effortlessly from this strength. So
You said it so beautifully.
yeah, we all have this. Let's all try to, tap
Yes,
into it.
yes, 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 yes. And so what can we learn from includer is an includer, when they wake up, they're sort of scanning to see who else is awake as well. You know, they're sort of always bringing together. And I think it's a much more outward facing than inward facing strength, in the sense of, this is about, even though an includer brings people together, it feels better because it fuels them. So that's
Hmm.
internal.
Yeah.
It is, who it benefits is so much external. It is so beautiful to watch people who are includers help those that feel different or odd or awkward. I'm thinking about my 13-year-old self, you know.
Oh, that's a painful thing maybe to think about.
The people that came, you know, into my life to kind of say, yes, you were different, you're a tomboy, but you can still be a part of this, right? And
Yeah.
I'm so grateful because um, that could have gone so differently.
Yeah.
Um, the beautiful thing, I'm just looking at some of my notes here, and I want to talk about the word respect.
Mm.
I think with includer, there is a respect of no matter where the person's coming from or their background or whatever it is, it's they deserve to be acknowledged,
Mm.
to be a part of something. Maybe not exactly what you're working on right there, but this includer will try to find a way to include the person to do something. Right? There's
Yeah.
the way to use them.
Yeah. And, you had said respect. I think, includers is a little bit like individualism in the way that they do see the best in people. Like they're able to, like you said, find the value or bring them in, across a range of diversity or ethnic groups or religions, but they find that value. They see the best in that person. And so there is that inherent kind of respect for all. And what a beautiful place to come from.
This
That's such a heart space, it
yes,
feels like to me.
yes. This is the person that when you're doing your new employee orientation, include this person in the as
Yeah.
the includer in the welcoming process, right? You will give them this chance to share warmth and ties and
Mhm.
unity and immediately create a community for these
Yeah,
new
sense of
employees.
belonging.
And yeah, belonging, right? I mean, oh, so we are fluffing this in terms of saying it's, it's this amazing strength and it can do no wrong. But I do, as we know, with any strength, when it's dialed up a little too high, right? Is there anything you want to share in terms of where you think it could go off the rails, whether it is um, as a parent, as a leader, as a human being? Where could that includer, when it's dialed up a little high, get maybe get a little side railed?
Just quickly thinking of, wanting to include everyone, so a little bit too generous maybe. And if not boundaried, I don't know, this is just what's coming to me. If not boundaried with some self boundaries, give it too much giving of self in order to do the including or to do the outreach to make sure everyone else is feeling
Yes.
included. So that was just maybe a little deeper than you thought, but for me, I think about, where could they kind of get lost without some self boundaries with that?
And I think I have seen it before where I've been invited to a party, or no, I didn't know it was a party. I've been invited over for dinner. Please join us for dinner. It'd be so amazing for you to come. And I'm like, oh, this is okay. This is great. And I show up and there's 50 people, right? And for a split second, I'm like, oh, I thought this was just going to be us. I thought this
Yeah.
was my chance to. But they felt that way about 50 other people too, or 49 other people too, right?
Mhm.
So, it's sort of this thing of being aware as an includer that if you are bringing people into something and you want to make them feel special, help them maybe understand why you're bringing them in. And here's my individualization kind of kicking in, but just helping them understand that they are still special even among this group, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Even
Yeah, I
using
like that.
language like that. I'm
Yeah.
bringing you in because I think I'd love for you to meet all these other people. I think they're going to, really enjoy your company.
Yeah.
Those kind of things can be ways that you can fuel yourself as the includer, but also make sure that the person has clear expectations as to why they're coming into
Yeah.
something.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
clubs, VIP rooms. I'm trying to think of all the things that
Uh,
would make them shudder, right?
yeah.
Um,
Yep. Yep.
hmm? Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And I think that let me just see if there's anything else I want to add here. I think the other part that you can use them on is I talked about new employees, but also customers, right?
Mm.
These are great customer service people. These are
Hmm.
great forward facing
Yeah.
come and invite you, right?
Yeah.
Brand engagement,
Yeah.
creating community. These are great people to be able to do that
Absolutely.
because their idea is there is always more than
Mm.
enough room to have you in the in the room. There's more than enough food at the party.
Mm.
There's more than enough product to share with you, whatever it is. There's more than enough. And
Yeah.
that's a really powerful place to be
Yeah.
versus
I agree.
scarcity, right?
Oh my gosh. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Again, only we, yeah, I'd love to, uh, I need to look at my long list. I need to see where this is, because just this has been really good for me to hear about today and read about, because it is such a pertaining to how I would like to be showing up, and
Yeah.
today for sure, and
Yes.
including, and when we are navigating from our strengths, we inherently help others navigate from theirs at the same time. We show up in such a way that it's just authentic and encouraging and real. And so it's when we show up aligned and true to ourselves and our strengths, we also encourage other people to do so. So it's not just it doesn't stop with us.
I think that you just so beautifully reminded us all, and I'm going to challenge you for those of you that are watching this because you have an includer in your life, or you are an includer yourself, but maybe if you're listening to this and you don't actually have includer, I think one of the things that to remember is that the idea of including fuels. But you can use, if you don't have includer in your top 5, you can utilize your other strengths to create including type of situations and behaviors and activities to bring forth, to bring, because the divisiveness, the us against them, the or, this or that just seems to be splitting us apart.
Mhm.
And I'm going to look at your quote for a second and read. You will know the truth by the way it feels. And right now, I think a lot of human beings feel pulled and split. And I think that there's things that we can do to um, bring people together. I will leave with one last story, Augusta, about a young two best friends. And I saw this story a couple years ago, and they keep going back to these two boys who lived in a neighborhood who did everything together. They started suggesting to their parents that if one of the two different families, right?
Mhm.
If one of the parents bought an outfit, they should buy two because the boys wanted to wear the same thing.
Mm.
And so they talked about this newscast, talked about how the boys did everything together, and they called themselves brothers, and they said we were twins,
Mhm.
and it's interesting because one decided that he wanted to be just a little bit more unique so people could tell them apart, because he said we're so alike that people just don't know which one of us is Joe and which one of us is Bob. So the one got a little mohawk in his hair so you could tell them apart, because he said we're just noticing that people are we're so, even though by birth we are not twins, we are so similar.
Mm.
And you realize at the end that one of the boys is a little white boy and the other is African American.
Mm.
And it is such an incredible example for both of them, whether it's included or not, of how they saw from a very young age the things that made them more similar than that made them different,
Ah, yes.
and how special that was. And
Yeah.
so I think in so many ways, searching for commonality is an inclusion and openness and awareness is our
Mm.
key, no matter our strengths. So
I
thank you
agree.
for letting me go
Beautiful.
off on that. That was such a beautiful
Oh,
story.
beautiful.
And maybe I'll try to find the link to that story and include it in the YouTube video. But
That would be neat.
yeah.
Yeah. That would be really neat.
Thank you for letting me include you in this.
Ah,
I will say that one of the things when I was thinking originally about doing the series is, of course, I was going to do it with someone, because I also know as includers, that when you bring someone like yourself in who enjoys talking about strength, it's a gift for you too. So it goes
Absolutely.
both ways.
Mhm. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Amy. Another wonderful conversation for
Thank
sure
you. And
today.
thank you for showing up and including me.
Thank you for including me.
Okay, we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.